Welcome to Unsubscribe. I'm your host, Avani Jain. In this podcast, I'm going to show you how to intentionally opt out of anything that's robbing you of your energy, freedom, joy, and peace of mind. It's time to let it all go, finally, so that you can clear your mental inboxes and make space to subscribe to a life that truly lights your soul. If you're ready, hop in. We are embarking on the transformation of a lifetime.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Unsubscribe. Today, we are diving into the macronutrients of happiness. Happiness is what we're all striving for, right? It's why we do the things we do. It's why we have the goals we have. We think when we get there, we will be happy. When we get there, when we achieve that thing, when we have that car or house or goal achievement, that we will be happy. And it's something that's been studied a lot, but it's also probably one of the things that's been studied so much and is completely mysterious to humans as well. There is a Harvard social scientist, Arthur C. Brooks, and he is known as the happiness professor. He talks about how happiness is a combination of three elements: enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose. He calls these elements the macronutrients of happiness. So enjoyment is what you think it would be. It is a combination of pleasure and elation. It's that excited feeling that we get. That is enjoyment. And satisfaction, which is the second macronutrient of happiness, comes from making an effort and having some amount of suffering to get a result. Suffering is actually an essential part of satisfaction. If there is no suffering, then it's not actually satisfactory. It's like when you're playing a game with someone and if they let you win, it's not satisfying because there was no suffering. It was too easy. So he says that in order to be satisfied, you should want less and less and not get what you want is actually what is satisfying, which is kind of weird. And then the last macronutrient is purpose. Purpose is important because it gives you direction in life. It propels you towards something that you believe in. And it's something that can also often require sacrifice or a challenge. And Brooks says that we should actually strive for happierness, not happiness. Like be happier and be happier in these dimensions in order to be truly happy. And that's how looking at happiness can actually serve us. And so after learning about this, I was chatting with some friends and we were all ranking ourselves on each of these pieces of happiness. And the one that we all went around and talked about was enjoyment, because what was very interesting is all of us ranked pretty low on enjoyment. We felt like we had satisfaction and purpose, and I'll talk about those in a moment, but enjoyment was low. And I was like, isn't that interesting? We're grinding in some cases, working towards these big goals and dreams, and we're not necessarily enjoying it, not necessarily enjoying the ride or enjoying the experience of it. So I want to talk a little bit about that, especially enjoyment, because I'll tell you my ranking. I just went through this and I ranked myself on enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose, like where I am at this point in my life right now. And enjoyment is a 3 out of 10 for me right now. I haven't been doing things just for me lately. I haven't been doing things like cozy coloring or cozy hobbies, things that I was doing maybe a few months ago and just not in that space right now. And I've also gotten out of the habit of doing things that are just for fun. And sometimes I just feel like there's a mountain of work to do and there's that never-ending ticker or to-do list. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to refocus for myself a little bit. I want to get that number up. It might not be a 10 out of 10 tomorrow, but increasing the pockets of enjoyment is something that I think will just make me a happier and better person. And also the people around me will also be happier, or at least I'll be able to be my best version of myself. So then they might feel good too. But happiness and enjoyment and fun and energy does rub off on others, I think. I feel like energy is contagious, so maybe these things could be a little bit too. The thing that I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to do one fun thing for me every single day. I'm not doing so great at it all the time right now, but I'm practicing it. I'm trying my best. And that often will look really, really teeny tiny. One thing that's fun for me around the house is actually redoing decoration in our home. So for me, if I have an idea and I get some pieces for it, like maybe I want to put some decorative element on the wall, spending a few minutes, 10 minutes to actually do that thing, put it up, take a look at it, step back and get back and forth is enjoyment for me. And that is fun for me. I feel so excited when it comes together and I look at it and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And that's really fun for me. Another really simple thing for me at home is getting a bouquet of flowers and arranging them in a vase. I love doing that. It's very easy for me. It's fun for me. And it takes maybe just 5 or 10 minutes to do. The other thing that I'm really enjoying doing these days is reading a book. So I've been getting back into Kindle. I have a whole list of different books I want to read that are just for fun, like just for fun, no purpose except for it's fun to read. And so I'm focusing on grabbing my Kindle first to read instead of just scrolling on my phone, which has become the default quite a bit these days. And it's just not good for the brain. It's not good for the brain because we don't ever get to control what we're looking at when we're scrolling. It's an algorithm that's feeding our feed. So we're not in control of that energy that's coming into us. And that's why I think it's just really great to opt for something else, like picking up your Kindle or maybe just sending some voice notes to friends. That's fun for me too. Catching up with a friend, maybe reading an article that you've been saving up to read. I have a bunch of newsletters that I really love that sometimes I don't have time to read. So instead of picking up my phone to scroll, I can read one of those newsletters that I haven't had a chance to look at yet. And reading in all those different formats is very fun for me. So I'm working on incorporating those in small doses in my day, but the bar is low right now. Just one fun thing a day. That's all I got to do. And rediscovering what's fun for me is also really important. I talked about this in a previous episode, but I've rediscovered my love for fashion and how finding trendy pieces and putting together outfits is really fun for me. And I've also been experimenting with different ways of wearing makeup again as well. And that's enjoyment for me. I am working on also cultivating hobbies beyond that, like beyond the home and beyond how I look and feel. And it's actually something I'm still working on. Like I do work out and that feels fun, but it's also sometimes not fun. So I don't feel like I can qualify that as enjoyment all the time. It's not always something that I enjoy, but it's something that I'm practicing. So let's move on to the next one, satisfaction, because there is quite a few pieces on here that are all related to health, but they're definitely satisfactory for me. And I'm ranking myself as an 8 out of 10 on here. I have a good sense of satisfaction in my life, which is so cool. And a lot of that's coming from my health, my working out. That's why working out definitely doesn't fit in the enjoyment category. It fits in the satisfaction category. Because let me tell you, some of my workouts are really hard. Let me tell you, some of my workouts are really hard and I do not enjoy them. But when I see my muscle percentage going up, when I see my fat percentage going down and I'm just starting to feel better and feel stronger, it's just so good. And I feel so alive. I feel like I'm doing something hard. I'm getting an ROI and I'm just really proud of myself for doing it. It feels like a video game, honestly. And I think that's one of the reasons I love going on health journeys for myself. It's because I feel the progress and I see the numbers changing. I'm hitting my goals, and I love to check in every so often. I do DEXA scans every 6 weeks to check in with my body fat percentage and my visceral fat, or it's also called android fat, which is the fat in between our midsection, like in our organs, between our organs, and checking in on my muscle percentage. And I have a holistic functional medicine doctor that I work with, and he helps me to kind of adjust and calibrate what I should be going for with my health. So health has been one of the most satisfying things right now for me, the journey of health and seeing that come to life and seeing me get the progress that I want and work back towards the healthiest version of myself. The other thing that I've been getting a lot of satisfaction out of is building spaces in our home. We have a big construction renovation project happening, and there's just a lot of work and a lot of energy that's being put into the spaces in our house and how we're going to be using them in the years to come. It's been not easy. It's been pretty tedious in a lot of cases, going through selections and having a long list of things to review. We have a big visit to pick countertops coming up, and that's going to be a big expedition, and it was hard to get that scheduled. So the work sometimes isn't fun, but the satisfaction in seeing that come to life in the spaces in our home has been 10 out of 10. So ranking pretty high on this right now, 8 out of 10, and I'm feeling really good about that. The next category is purpose. Purpose, I would say I'm a 9 out of 10 on right now. I'm really feeling fulfilled building my life together with my husband and spending time with family, like our parents. We've been going to New York. We've been spending time with my family, with family events. We have the holidays coming up, and that just makes me feel so good. We have board games that we play with our families as well. That's been giving me a lot of purpose. And what hasn't been giving me as much purpose is the agency life and working with our clients. I love our clients so much, but it's just not where my time and energy has been going these days. Our team has got our clients at Matcha Design Labs. They're managing everything, and they're doing such an amazing job that I get to focus on what does fuel me these days, which is podcasting. So I'm here sitting behind the camera and the mic and sharing what I'm learning with you. Every day I'm learning something new, and I'm like, how can I share this with everyone on the podcast? Podcasting is something that has reignited a spark in me. It's allowed me to start thinking about things in different ways. It's allowed me to start formulating my ideas on how I think about life and communicating that with you. And it feels so fun. And there's so many people that share that they've learned from this podcast or they felt less alone because of it. And I'm just so grateful because that gives me big purpose, and that makes me feel so good that I get to do this. So 9 out of 10 on purpose. So we had 3 out of 10 on enjoyment, 8 out of 10 on satisfaction, 9 out of 10 on purpose. And this is something I'm going to be checking in with myself on a weekly basis to see where I'm ranking on these and be able to create a plan to improve them in whatever dimensions I want. So right now, obviously, I'm focusing a lot more on enjoyment. And I also want to note that I think it's okay to give ourselves grace if we rank or score low on one of them and high on the others, because sometimes it's just a season. It's a season where enjoyment is low or purpose is low or satisfaction is low, and that's okay. It's okay to have ebbs and flows of these. We don't have to have a perfect score on everything all the time. Sometimes it just can be fine or okay or 5 out of 10 on everything across the board. But like I said, right now for me, enjoyment is the big one, and I am venturing to say that it might be a big one for you right now as well, that maybe enjoyment is something that you get a chance to refocus on too. I think just the end of the year, the energy that comes up right now, we have so much going on, and we forget that we're supposed to be doing these things because they're fun. It suddenly feels like everything becomes a task, a to-do list item, a chore, and we're just trying to keep afloat because there's so much going on and we're trying to be everywhere at once. And I think it's just a good reminder for us to look inwards and ask ourselves, what is it that we need to change or adjust here in order to create a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyment, a little bit more pleasure or elation. Elation is such a great word, actually. This idea of feeling like you're running on high, you're feeling really good. And the moments of that in our lives are sometimes far and few in between. I think about when we were kids, we probably had so much more enjoyment because even the little things like going on a swing at the park filled us up with so much joy. And now we don't have those anymore. So I'm on a mission to find the pockets of enjoyment in my life. And I've got to say, I've struggled with this lately. I've struggled with finding those pockets and finding what that is for me now in this era of life where I'm a grown up, you know. We're grown ups. We have big things going on. We have important bills and schedules and commitments and responsibilities that we have to be there for or be responsible for or in charge of. And because we're in that portion of our lives, sometimes I think we can lose the fun lightness, the childlike nature of ourselves. The inner child kind of gets buried. And I think we're being asked to find and connect with that inner child again and teach them, maybe not teach them, but learn from them, really. Allow them to speak, allow them to tell us that we should be trying this thing. We should be going to this random dance class that came up, or we should be working on that painting idea that we saw on TikTok, or we should be playing in the mud and working on our garden. Actually, I haven't done any gardening in a while, and we're starting to think about our winter and spring gardens, and the idea of just doing something with my hands feels really fun, and I'm excited to get back to that. We're going to be planting some garlic, which I'm very, very excited about. I'll have to share more about our garden things another time. But finding those pockets of enjoyment, like I said, is something that I'm continuing to think about and have in the forefront of my mind. And I also think finding people in my life who are really good at enjoyment is going to be something that is helpful for me, having examples of enjoyment so I can pick and choose from what's working for others. One of the things that I've noticed that I haven't been doing a lot lately is watching TV, which is so random, but I find enjoyment in watching shows that I like. So, for example, Gilmore Girls, which is my favorite TV show of all time, I had this period where I just didn't watch it at all. Or there's a bunch of other shows on Netflix and Amazon Prime that I used to keep up with that I've just fallen behind on. And I don't know if there's new episodes or not. I used to enjoy watching them, and now I'm just so out of the loop. Getting back to those storylines and finding those characters and seeing what they're doing and where they're up to and enjoying a few episodes of TV sounds really great to me right now. So finding my way back to those things is something that I'm really looking forward to doing. So to recap, these 3 macronutrients of happiness, enjoyment, satisfaction, and purpose are really guideposts for us to understand where we are in our journey to happierness. And it's a really useful tool, I think, to quantify how we're doing in those dimensions. And it's just for ourselves. We're not competing against anyone else. It's really for us to understand and be honest with ourselves and look inwards and understand, oh, I'm really lacking in this area, and being aware of that. Even if we're not going to take action on it, I think just being aware of it can help so much. So I hope this gives you the nudge to take a look at your happierness and inspect those macronutrients and really ask yourselves if you're doing well or not doing well in those areas. And I think it'll be such a great way for us to quantify and be aware of our internal landscape at a different dimension and a different angle. I hope this episode was useful, and I'm so excited for all of you being here as always, and I'm so excited to be here and talk to you. I will see you in the next one.